Happy Monday, everyone. It's me, your boy Ryan, aka Clutch Sports Talk in the house. Hope you guys had an excellent weekend, man. It's a nice sunny day here where I live in Henderson, Nevada. Hope everything is going well wherever you guys are at. Thanks for watching tonight on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. We got lots to talk about today. Man, the Nets just keep acquiring people, man. They're out there looking like Thanos, getting Infinity Stone after Infinity Stone. Also, the Lakers signed Andre Drummond as a free agent. Also, I want to talk about Rick Carlisle, the head coach of the Dallas Mavericks. He had some comments about Zion Williamson in regards to him probably being the next Shaquille O'Neal, maybe. I don't know. I'll talk about that. Also, I want to talk about the San Francisco 49ers. Are they going to be able to, are they moving off Jimmy Garoppolo? I guess that's the real question. They moved up 9 spots in this upcoming draft to the 3rd pick. So it looks like to me they're going to be taking a quarterback. And finally, the NFL has approved a 17-game schedule. There's some pros and some cons. Some players are disappointed and displeased about the decision, but I got lots to get into. So sit back and relax and enjoy the show. This is Clutch Sports Talk Live with me, Ryan Flowers. Let's go. Clutch Sports Talk Live with Ryan Flowers is presented by All Pro Digital Sports, the future in sports media content. Let's go. Welcome in, everyone. Hope you guys are doing all right, man. Like I said at the top of the show, we got lots to get into tonight. But before I move on, I want to make sure I get some housekeeping notes out the way. Below, you see all that little ticker thing scrolling over there. That's all my social media platforms you guys can reach out to me on right now. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Right now, if you're watching live on YouTube, make sure after the show, you subscribe to my YouTube channel right now or immediately right after the show. Also, hit me up on Clutch.Sports I Talk on Instagram, Ryan Flowers on Facebook, and Clutch_Talk on Twitter. So hope you guys are doing all right. Thanks for watching. And make also drop a comment if you're watching the show live right now, wherever you're watching on any of the platforms that I haven't mentioned before. Make sure you leave a comment, questions, or concerns. I'll be more than happy to answer that during the show or before the show is up. It could be about anything, not even anything related to what I'm talking about today. I'll be more than happy to hit you guys up or reply to you with your questions or concerns. So, man, let's see. We already got one coming up. Oh, what's up, Team Zamora? How you doing, brother? But let's get into the show, man. So the first topic out the gate. If you didn't know, over the weekend, or I believe Friday night, I forgot what day it was, but the Nets have acquired LaMarcus Aldridge. Aldridge was bought out by the San Antonio Spurs earlier last week, sat around a little bit, but didn't sit around too long because the Brooklyn Nets called him up and said, hey, we need you. We're trying to win a championship. So come over here, pair up with Durant, Harden, and Kyrie Irving. Oh, and I forgot Blake Griffin too. And let's go win this championship. So he decided to do that. So now I guess they look like they should probably win a championship. Okay. I'll talk about that in my next segment, but it's very interesting. This is the league that we're in now as far as the NBA is concerned. Now, I know this is what has transpired the last couple years in the NBA. Super teams, I would say. Is this like a super team? No. But with the addition of Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge, those are really solid players. If you guys didn't see my video on YouTube, they still haven't addressed their defensive issues, but they did get better on the offensive side because now you have a post player that you can kind of throw the ball down to who's reliable and can play with his back towards the basket. So I think, is it a bad signing? No, it's not a bad signing. It's a really good sign. Aldridge, I don't know how old he is. I think he's got to be in his 30s, at least by now, Team Zamora. But nonetheless, the Brooklyn Nets, it's like they're really gearing up. They really are just going to say, you know what, we're going to try to get as many people as we can. We don't care about chemistry issues. We don't care about anything about that nature. We're just going to get the best players we can get. And it's up to Coach Steve Nash, a rookie head coach in the NBA, to kind of formulate this all together and get this all right. So that way, when they have a chance, when the playoffs do come around, because they're going to be in the playoffs, Will they have the ability to beat some of these top tier teams in the Eastern Conference? My guess is I think they do. I think they have what it takes already right now, even prior to Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge signing their respective contracts to become Brooklyn Nets. Just the three alone between Harden, Durant, and Kyrie Irving, that's just, dude, that's a nightmare for anybody who wants to face up with them on a 7-game series. I just don't see how anybody in the East can keep up with that because they won't have enough offensive power. I mean, if you disagree, let me know. Let me know if there's a team out there that you think that can probably match up with them. Defensively, they're not going to stop a lot of people. LaMarcus Aldridge, is he a great defensive player? No. His best days are behind him. He's never was like a real big shot blocker or post defender. His thing was that he can score. He can shoot from the perimeter. He can score. He can play with his back towards the basket. And that's what they got him for. Blake Griffin, never really known as a great defensive player as well. He was a jump out of the gym type of dude. His 15-footer improved over some time, but he hasn't been the same either after some injuries. And then, was traded to Detroit, and then he got bought out there. So do I think the Brooklyn Nets are the best in the East? Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think you look at teams like Philadelphia, I think they might be number one in the standings. I haven't looked today. But it's the standings. I don't think any of that means anything when the playoffs actually do start. And the fact of the matter is that the Brooklyn Nets, man, like you look at their roster top to bottom. Oh, and don't forget, they still got guys like DeAndre Jordan, who's a decent rim protector. Joe Harris coming off the bench, or does he start? I forgot. He's a deadly 3-point shooter. So they do have some guys still there that are not the main, or like what you call it, marquee type players. So we'll just have to see what happens with that. But like I said in my video on YouTube right now, make sure you go watch that video. It's a Brooklyn Nets championship or bust video. I do lay out the fact that they still have to play together, and there's only one ball. And basketball, and any other sport, when you get a lot of free agents coming through your door, it looks great on paper, but they actually have to perform. We have to see how this actually plays out. I'd have to see about 10 to 12 games, at least this last stretch of the season as we go into the playoffs, to see how it actually is going to work. Because look, Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie hadn't even played a lot of games fully together. I think they got just, I don't even know, maybe 15 games together as a unit. They've missed a lot of time. James Harden's been holding it down while they've been gone. And we don't know the extent of the injuries sustained by Kevin Durant. He's dealing with a hamstring injury. And Kyrie Irving, we don't know what's happening with him on a day-to-day basis. He's missing time, whether it's family needs or something else going on. So I don't know. We just have to wait and see on that particular situation as we look forward towards the NBA playoffs. I mean, so it's going to be exciting for sure. It's going to be exciting. I'm not going to crown them just yet because they still got to play some games. They still got to play some games. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section, and we're just going to keep it moving. So sticking with the NBA and sticking with the Brooklyn Nets, the Lakers actually went out and did their own little free agency signing. They got the rights, or they signed Andre Drummond. Andre Drummond was bought out by, I believe, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Here's the thing with Andre Drummond. A lot of people, especially in Laker Nation, I'm a Laker fan. Don't get me wrong. I do love the Lakers. Do I think this is like the greatest pickup? I don't know. Because here's the thing. The NBA, Andre Drummond is a relic of what the NBA used to be like. That big center, big power forward guy who can play down low, plays with his back to the basket a little bit. He does have some type of skill, but he's a relic. He's not a guy that's going to stretch the floor. He's not going to come out beyond the 15-foot mark or beyond the elbow and shoot threes often, if any. I mean, I think he averages like 17 points, 12 rebounds, something like that nature, if I'm not mistaken. Is he a solid player? Yes. He's not trash. He's not garbage. But does it really match what Brooklyn is doing? If I had to pick who won overall, I guess the Brooklyn Nets, I would say they got a 2-for-1. They basically got two solid players versus one. Now, the Lakers couldn't trade for anybody. I mean, the rumors were out there that they were in the market for Kyle Lowry, which I'm glad they didn't make that trade for obvious reasons. But Andre Drummond, will he help right now? Yeah, I think so, because LeBron and AD are still out. Marc Gasol has not worked out for the Lakers. We thought that was going to be a pretty good pickup. It just hasn't. He hasn't really played really that well. And granted, he's an older player. He's not the same guy he once was. And he's not the inside presence that we expected him to be when we had guys like Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee on last year's team. Now, guys like Dennis Schroeder has pretty much stepped up. Last night they had a pretty good game. I think Schroeder had like 24 points against the Orlando Magic, but it was a close game. And you're like, well, they beat the Orlando Magic, who gave up 3 of their top 5 starters in the trade deadline last week. And then you look at the Brooklyn Nets, who are just cruising along. Do I think the Brooklyn Nets kind of between the two, who was better? As of right now, I would say the Nets are better. The Nets are better right now as it stands. Because at least they're, for the most part, they're clicking on all cylinders still. We don't know what's going on with Kyrie. Like I said, Kevin Durant got the hamstring, but I would say their prospects of playing sooner than later is a lot better than what's going on with the Lakers situation, with LeBron being out probably all of April, and AD, we don't know when he's going to come back. So once I see AD, LeBron, and Andre Drummond all together, I can kind of give you a better estimation, because I'm not one of these guys. I'm not going to just say stuff. It's not clickbait. Okay, it's not clickbait. One thing with Andre Drummond, when LeBron does come back, we know LeBron likes to have the floor spread out. All his teams have shooters. They got guys where he can penetrate and he can dish out. Andre Drummond, I don't see him playing a lot of meaningful minutes while LeBron is out there on the court. Not to mention, he's not a great free throw shooter as well. So in those clutch situations down the stretch, will he be available to be on the floor? I don't know, because the guy can't shoot free throws. I mean, literally. So we got some comments here. William Flowers says the Lakers shouldn't sleep on Utah or the Suns, Nuggets, and Clippers. They have to win the West first before they could think about the East. I see what you're saying. I mean, here's the thing. Utah's nice. They're a nice little story, but we saw what happens to them in the playoffs. Donovan Mitchell gets burnt out. He gets worn down in a 7-game series. He can't do it all by himself. Rudy Gobert is a nice player, but he's a defensive guy. So in a 7-game series, I don't see them really battling with the Lakers in a 7-game series if LeBron and AD are healthy. As far as the Suns are concerned, same thing. I mean, they don't really have other than Chris Paul, they don't have a dude. Like right now, it's great. They can win in the regular season because it's okay. But when you start getting in a 7-game series where you're playing teams, every other night until the series is over, I don't see the Suns. The Nuggets, they had a nice little run last year. They made the Western Conference Final. Jamal Murray is playing a little bit better, but he hasn't really gotten back to that level where he was playing last year in the bubble. And Jokic is a beast. I mean, Jokic is in MVP candidate mode right now. Now, they did acquire Aaron Gordon via trade. We have to see how he fills out there, how it fits. But and then who was the last thing? The Clippers. The Clippers are riding a 5-game winning streak. I think they put that to test tonight. They did get Rondo. I don't know if he's playing tonight or not. Rondo is a veteran point guard. He brings leadership. Now he does wear out his welcome. Will he do that here back in LA? I don't know. Maybe he's learned his lesson, but that team does need leadership because they're not getting it from Kawhi Leonard or Paul George. So maybe he's that glue guy. He's that factor that can bring that team. They can rally around Rondo, and perhaps because we know at the end of the day, Kawhi Leonard is just going to play his game and he's going to dip. He's going to be out. He doesn't care. He don't want to lead. He just wants to play ball. So I still like the Lakers' chances of coming out of the West, because they're not going to play all those teams consecutively. Those guys are going to play one another. They're going to beat each other up. But overall, I do like their matchups. What scares me is the East come with Brooklyn, is because they have so many mismatch nightmares for the Lakers from a defensive standpoint. No teams in the West really, to me, present that like, oh my God, like we don't have a guy that can guard him. So that's why I'm still sticking with the Lakers to maybe come out the West, as long as these LeBron and AD can come back and play healthy. Mainly AD. I think 80% of LeBron is pretty good. Now we got to get 100% AD, because he was a killer. He was a beast in the bubble. So, but to kind of circle back, who's better? I would say the Brooklyn Nets today are the better team with those signings overall. Now, like I said, the Lakers they get a boost right now because they need another guy, a presence down low. So Andre Drummond can probably help address those needs right now. Because let's think of their starting 5 right now. You would have, I would think Schroeder at the point guard, KCP at the 2, LeBron can play the 3, AD at the 4, which is probably his most natural position, and then Andre Drummond at the center. Pretty formidable. So, all right, man, we're just motoring through, man. So, all right, Zion Williamson, we all know about him. He's an internet sensation. You've seen him destroy his shoes on the court in Cameron Indoor Fieldhouse when he was at Duke, just dunking on people. Now he's in the NBA. He's having a really solid season. He's surpassing my own expectations for him. I thought he would be decent, but he's really playing really well right now. And the reason why I'm bringing him up on the show tonight is because the head coach of the Dallas Mavericks, Rick Carlisle, had made some comments about him being dominant as Shaq. Now, I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but I'm just paraphrasing. But basically, he's saying to the effect that you really don't have a matchup for him. He's quick, he's agile, and he's so fast, and he's quick off the ball. So how do you stop somebody like that? To me, Zion Williamson's comparison would probably be more of a Charles Barkley, a young Charles Barkley when he was in Philadelphia. For those of you who don't remember Charles Barkley or who weren't even alive around that time when Charles Barkley was really a 76er, most people remember him as a Houston Rocket and maybe as a Phoenix Sun, but he was drafted by the 76ers. I mean, Charles Barkley was a force. I mean, he was a rim-shattering type of dude, very physical. Zion is quick. He is so quick. He's got to develop his jumper eventually, because here's the thing with Zion, and I'm not hating on him, but eventually all this stuff works in the regular season. When you play teams in a playoff, they get to scout you more. They get to see you more. They come up with game plans to develop to stop you on a night in, night out basis. The biggest question for me too has always been his weight. A guy that moves like that, who torques and moves his body in like these very stressful, impactful ways. I'm not hoping he gets hurt, but I wouldn't be surprised if eventually he's going to blow out a knee or do something to that effect, just because a man that size, moving the way he moves, it's pretty remarkable, man. And I can imagine all the stress that his body does undertake, because he's heavier. He's a heavier kind of dude. He's not very muscular. He's a thick guy. He's a thick body dude. Now in regards to Rick Carlisle's comments about him being Shaq, I think that's a reach. He's definitely a dominant force, but if you put a really good, solid defender, a post defender on him, I'm not going to say you're going to shut him down, but you can slow him down a little bit. You keep him out of the paint. Now, that's easier said than done, because if you look at his shot charts, he's not shooting from the perimeter. All his stuff is rebounds. He's getting into the paint. And I mean, he gets into the paint like nobody else right now that I can see. For a big man like that. I mean, you think about it. He has like guard type tendencies. He can play in the post, but he can't shoot well yet. So Shaq's dominance was bar none, like nothing I'd ever seen in the NBA. Like literally. Shaq, when he got down in the paint, it's over. Literally, like he's a 7-footer. He's strong. He can shoot. I mean, he had a nice little shot, I'd never seen nothing like that. I mean, I'm 37. I'm assuming Wilt Chamberlain was probably as dominant for his time, but I feel like Shaq could go back in the Wilt's era and just completely annihilate those fools in there too. But to say that he's as dominant as Shaq, I don't know. I don't get to see him, courtside like Rick Carlisle does, when he coaches against the Mavericks. I mean, when he coaches against the Pelicans. But I will say that he is a force. He's definitely a freak of nature, and he's a force of nature. I just hope that his body holds up, because it's for his own benefit for him to have a long, illustrious career. He's going to have to get in shape a little bit more and continue to work on his agility and take some weight off of that frame, because there's no way a man of that size can jump the way he jumps, can move laterally and quickly as he can. It's just not natural. And that's why he's in the NBA. That's why he was a high school sensation from, I don't know, God knows when, probably from his sophomore year in high school on up. He was a phenom. He was a phenom at Duke, played 1 year. Now he's in the NBA. Like, if I had to pick, him and John Morant came out, in the same draft last year. If I had to pick moving forward, I would probably stick with John Morant. Now, he does some crazy stuff too, but I don't see him getting hurt because of his body failing. I like Zion. I think he's a great talent, but I want to see a little bit more from him as far as his perimeter game is concerned, because that's where the NBA is played at. It's played outside on the perimeter. It's not played in the paint anymore. And for those of you who don't think that, literally it's a wing league. If you have a great wing that can shoot, that can penetrate, that can attack the basket, you're going to have a lot of success versus a center who really is out of date. I mean, centers are out of date. Centers are almost like DVD players. Like you need a DVD player, it's not like a VHS anymore or VCR. Those are obsolete completely, but DVD players are they're getting there. But you still need them because not everything is on digital media. So you still need a DVD player, kind of like how you still need a center. So, that's my best equation to that in regards to guys like Zion and other centers around the league. So, but yeah, Rick Carlisle, I don't know. You're a little bit off base for that one. But because Shaq is definitely in a stratosphere all on his own. I mean, literally. All right, switching gears, we're moving on to the NFL. Just over the weekend, or right during the weekend, I think on Friday, the 49ers, they moved up from the 12th spot to the 3rd spot, trading with the Philadelphia Eagles to move up. Now the Eagles move back to 12. Okay. And then the Niners move up to 3. I don't know about you, but if you follow the draft or NFL period, you don't move up to get a tackle or a wide receiver or a running back. You make a move like that. Why? Because you're getting a quarterback. I mean, literally, there's no other logical reason for you to move up that high if you're not taking a quarterback. So that leads me to believe, and a lot of people, hell, probably even Jimmy Garoppolo, what's going to happen with him? Now, Jimmy Garoppolo didn't have the greatest of seasons. He suffered some injuries. Yet then again, the 49ers overall had an injury-plagued season. So, they didn't make the playoffs. They didn't kind of bounce. They had a Super Bowl hangover, I would say. But there are rumblings that maybe Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch aren't really liking or impressed with what they see with Jimmy Garoppolo. And there's a chance that maybe, just maybe, Bill Belichick might try to trade back for him. I mean, that's a rumor. That's just what I've heard. But the whole thing, them moving up to the 3rd pick of the draft, of this year's draft, says to me they're going to take a quarterback. Now, which quarterback would they take? Obviously, the Jets are picking at number 2 right currently. Now, they may accept a trade for someone maybe trying to move up as well to get a quarterback. Who knows? We don't know yet. But as it stands right now, it's the Jaguars, Jets, and the Niners are the top 3. Both of those teams are looking for quarterbacks. The Jets, all 3. So Trevor Lawrence will be off the board because we all know the Jaguars are not going to pass up on him. Now, Zach Wilson is getting a lot of love right now, and there are thoughts that the Jets actually might take him over Justin Fields. So then Justin Fields would fall 3rd to Kyle Shanahan and the San Francisco 49ers, or will they go out and take a flyer on Trevor Lance, the kid from was it South Dakota State, North Dakota State? I forgot what Dakota it was, but he's a strong, sturdy kid. My guess is if no trades occur and everything falls into line, Jacksonville is going to take Trevor Lawrence. Zach Wilson's probably going to go to the Jets because this guy had an amazing pro day, and you know how that is. I mean, to me, pro days don't mean anything at this point. We've got enough tape on you, but he did wow the crowd. NFL Network was just, I mean, literally, they were swinging from his, talking about, oh my God, look at that throw, and off. They're like, okay, relax. I mean, I can do a whole segment on Zach Wilson, but I won't. And then Justin Fields. If you're a Niners fan, that's probably not a bad idea. If you look at that team, the Niner team that made the Super Bowl 2 years now, right? Was it really Jimmy Garoppolo that got them there? Or was it your defense was healthy and they were good and you had a really nice balanced offense where you ran the ball tremendously? And not to mention they re-signed Trent Williams, who is a key cog in their offensive line. So could you possibly get a rookie quarterback, plug him in with Kyle Shanahan's offense and get a redo on your defense and make sure that these guys are healthy? I think so. Now, the NFC West is a little bit more difficult, obviously, because there's, most of those teams have upgraded in key areas, but, is Jimmy Garoppolo replaceable? Yes, I think he's definitely replaceable. I don't think he's worth the money that he's getting. A lot of quarterbacks are not even worth the money that they get. That's just the value. I mean, let's just be real. But the Niners are definitely in a spot. I think they're going to get a quarterback. I mean, you don't move up and not get a quarterback. I'd be surprised if they take a lineman or somebody else. Now, some people might say, oh, they might go out and get Devontae Smith. No. I mean, I like Devontae Smith. He's a talent, but you're not going to pick. It's like going to a very fancy steakhouse, right? So you got a date and you go into a steakhouse. with your girl or your partner, whoever you're with, and you get there, and this is a world famous. Okay, but say you go to Salt Bay Steakhouse. You go, he does that. Okay, that guy. And you go there and you're like, oh, what do you want? Oh, let me get I don't know. You got a chicken sandwich? You don't go to places like that and get a chicken sandwich. You're getting a prime rib, a porterhouse, something of that nature. And so with the Niners, you're not moving up to the third spot to get a wide receiver or an offensive lineman. You're going to take a quarterback. Now, I mean, like I said, I'm just hypothesizing that they could probably get Justin Fields because he will be available if the Jets don't take him, because I do feel that the Jets are they're gonna get suckered and they're gonna take Zach Wilson. They just are. Now, Justin Fields, I mean, like I said, the Niners are definitely a good team. They should bounce back. Are they gonna win that division? I don't know. I mean, you got Arizona, who's improved, pretty much for the most part, slightly. You got who else? The Rams, they upgraded in quarterback. Now, my boy Barry Grant, who's the host of the All Even podcast, on his show was a week or two ago, he said that I think he said the Rams are beating the Super Bowl. I don't know, something like that. Or they might, I don't know, something crazy. And I was like, I don't know about all that, Barry. That's my boy, but I don't know. But the Rams are a good team. They're balanced. They're like a well-balanced breakfast. Like, they're not going to get you full, but they're going to they're good. They're good enough to keep you good and sustain you. And then you got the Seattle Seahawks. We don't know what they're going to be like. Obviously, Russell Wilson should be there. Now, I will say Seattle did a really good job addressing some of their needs as far as the offensive line. But to stay on point with the 49ers, I think, they got a really talented team. They definitely have a real talented team. And if they can get an elusive quarterback, somebody who's a playmaker. Jimmy G's not a playmaker. He's not a playmaker. Maybe they can try to reconstruct or reconfigure their roster to get back to that Super Bowl level. And you never know. I mean, here's the thing with rookie quarterbacks. Some people feel, they don't work. You got to sit them out for. No, I'm on the token that you have to play them. These guys have been, and trust me, I coach youth football. These kids, they come from youth football through high school to college, quarterbacks particularly. There's so much resources and training that they get that they're like, when they make it to the NFL, I'm not saying it's easy, but they're doing stuff that, I mean, there's kids getting pro level type training now today. So when you like a main example last year with Justin Herbert, right? A lot of people doubted him. I was a believer that I thought he was going to be a really good pro if he got the chance. I mean, here's the thing. You think him playing in the Rose Bowl against Wisconsin, primetime TV, millions of people watching, and then he plays, I don't know, the Denver Broncos on a Sunday afternoon. Which one is bigger? I mean, so the limelight, all that, these guys are ready to play. Let them play, let them perform. I think the quarterbacks in this draft, all these guys can probably be, if not all starters, for whatever respective team that they're being drafted by. So I do like the Niners' chances. Jimmy G's out. Trade him to New England. Get some more draft picks for the 49ers. And then maybe, get some more offensive weapons. And then, we can start talking about the 49ers for having next season, a successful next season. So that's my thoughts on that. All right. Last thing before I get out of here tonight, man, thanks for everyone for being in live. If you didn't know, there is a 17-week schedule, right? We know that, but the NFL has approved 17 games. Now, NFL teams play 16 games because they get a 1 week bye. Now, they're expanding it to 17 games now. So what does that mean? Well, more money, more revenue, more money, even for the players, for the network, for the brand itself, more marketing, advertisement, all that, because football is basically the pastime of this country. Now, there are some players like Alvin Kamara who aren't necessarily in love with this decision. But here's the thing. The players union signed off on it. So don't be mad at the league, be mad at your own player union representatives who pretty much put this together. So the players had to agree on this. And they did. Now, we all know football is a grueling sport. And adding one more game, it does present an issue, because now some teams are going to have 9 home games. Some teams are going to have eight away games, so someone's going to miss out. You're not going to get equal amount of home games because it's an odd number of games. But the NFL is looking at it from a revenue standpoint. This is more money. Like, why not? They're in the business of making money. And as from a fan standpoint, I'm okay with it. I'm not the one playing. I mean, here's the thing. I know it's a rough sport, and I've never played in the NFL. I mean, look at me. Do I look like I would play in the NFL? No, I don't. But I can appreciate them, especially guys like Alvin Kamara, But here's the thing. You guys get paid millions of dollars. Invest in taking care of your body and preparing yourself for this season. You look at guys like LeBron, even Tom Brady, who invest millions of dollars into their body. Now, I know all these guys aren't millionaires and stuff like that, but those top tier guys, Alvin Kamara makes pretty good money. Invest your money in that, man. Just get in that mindset that, hey, this is what it is. Because here's the thing. And I think this is where athletes always forget. You're an employer. You're an employee. You work for the NFL. You work for your particular team. Your company can make decisions and make changes and make protocols at any given time and say, here, you got to take that or you can leave. See, unlike the rest of us that have a regular job, we don't have a players association that can kind of help us buffer some of these things. So when my company decides, hey, we're taking this away, or you got to do this now, there's nothing I can do other than deal with it or leave the company. So athletes, you guys are no different than you and I, other than the fact that you get paid millions of dollars to do something, and I don't get paid millions of dollars to do something. But I feel like I get shafted more than you guys do. So I get it, Alvin. You're not happy with the situation, but you're getting paid millions of dollars. I'm not saying shut up and play, because this is not anything to do with, civil rights or anything, but there are a lot of resources available to guys like that. Go ahead and take advantage of it, and just play the game. I mean, literally just play the game. And who knows, maybe if your team is good enough, that last game of the season, probably don't have to play, because like they do in week 16 or week 17 in a lot of these teams, if you're a team that's, first in the division, you clinched your playoff spot, you have nothing else to gain, you don't start your starters. You let them rest. So it's just another strategic standpoint for coaches and GMs moving forward. Do I like the deal? I mean, it's more football, and it gives me more to talk about. So yeah, I'm okay with it. I'm not the one playing. I don't want to sound like I don't have a heart, but I mean, just play, man. But anyway, that's it, man. That's all I got for tonight, man. It was a quick 30-minute show, man. Appreciate you guys popping in. Teams of more, William Flowers, all even. Barry Grant, appreciate you guys. Be on the lookout for my next live Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube Live. Also, please go ahead and hit up my YouTube channel and subscribe now, man. I got some cool videos out there about the Brooklyn Nets and the San Francisco 49ers that are available for you right now. Just quick videos, man. Go and check that out. But other than that, March Madness is kicked off, I believe, right now. The Elite Eight is underway, so make sure you guys tune on to that. But like I said, be back here Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This is Clutch Sports Talk Live with me, Ryan Flowers. Never settle till the work is done. Let's go. Clutch Sports Talk Live with Ryan Flowers is presented by All Pro Digital Sports, the future in sports media content.